Welcome to Carry On with Carrie Fitz. I'm Carrie Fitz, owner and broker of Carrie Fitz Real Estate. Our podcast has beneficial information to both agents and consumers. Today we're discussing homeowners associations, or HOAs. What are some pros and some cons? Homeowners associations, or HOAs, is an organization in a neighborhood that makes and enforces the rules for the homes and properties within that area. Each HOA is different. HOAs enforce a set of rules known as covenants, conditions, and restrictions, C, and Rs. What do the rules look like? They can look like whoever created them wants them to look like. And, well, as they can enforce them, and some of the rules might be what color you can paint your house, for example. They can limit the number of vehicles and types of vehicles that you can keep on your property. They can enforce rules about pets, lawn, holiday decor. So what are some pros and some cons? Pros. HOAs sometimes offer amenities in the neighborhood like maintenance, security, a community pool, a playground, a fitness center, etc. HOAs can establish plans for resolving disputes between neighbors like mediation. Some also cover expenses like water, trash, gas, and recycling fees. Some of them cut the front yards to make sure that everybody's yard is looking very nice and the guy next door doesn't have waist-high grass. That wouldn't fly in an HOA neighborhood. That's where the rules are enforced. It also affects property values since they ensure the homes are well kept, and that's important to a lot of people. So what are some cons? HOAs require mandatory fees. Those services like keeping lights on and keeping grounds cut, they don't come for free. So sometimes those can be expensive depending on how many neighbors are in a subdivision. Those are divided equally among all the households. And these fees can increase every year, as does the services that you are supplying. HOAs may require homeowners to keep their homes and their lots and not allow them to rent. An HOA can even force a foreclosure, place a lien on your property, and fine someone if their property is not compliant. Consumers, if you are thinking about buying a home, do your research. Look for information about HOA fees in the property listing. You can also access it on most real estate websites like Zillow or Realtor.com. If you can't find any information on it, ask your local real estate agent. And some questions you might want to ask that person are things like, is there an HOA? How much is it? And what do they cover? What is the current financial health of the HOA? You have any money in there? Or am I going to be expecting an assessment for something down the road? Are there any pending lawsuits against them? How does the HOA communicate with homeowners? When buying a home in a neighborhood with an HOA, it's crucial to ask certain questions to understand what it's like to live there. A lot of agents are kind of slack about getting those covenants and restrictions to buyers. If they don't provide them, make sure that you ask. You need to make sure you know what you can and cannot do before you buy. For example, if you are buying a home and in your head you are thinking, I need an outbuilding to put whatever it is you need to store in an outbuilding. Not all HOAs will allow an outbuilding. So you may be thinking that's what you want to do, but if there's an HOA, make sure that you get a copy of those covenants and restrictions so you know whether or not you can do what it is you're planning to do before you buy and sign on that dotted line. So also, did you know that lenders take into account HOA fees when determining your eligibility for a mortgage? A high HOA fee could affect your ability to secure one. So if you are on that edge where you have bought as much house as you can afford and you've got insurance built in there and that HOA pushes you over, you may not be able to buy that house with that loan based on that. So make sure that you know what those HOAs are. So is it worth it? Every HOA is different. You have to look at the cost, see what it covers, and whether you think it works for you. What works for you may not be worth it for someone else. It depends on your priorities and your lifestyle. I sold a property to an elderly gentleman and his wife that lived in the country all their lives. They wanted to be in town, closer to doctor's visits and the hospital. They were at that age and that was a concern to them. I talked to them about the HOA in this neighborhood. We went through the covenants and restrictions, we did all that, but once he moved in, he heard from the HOA because of some things that he had done, and he was not happy at all. And when I talked to him, and he was like, well, what am I paying this for anyway? I paid cash for this house, I feel like I'm renting it. And I said, well, you know, the HOA helps keep the lights on at night. Those lights shine in my bedroom window, they can just turn those off. He went down through the list of everything that HOA covered, and that man sold that house within a year and bought another house in the neighborhood without an HOA. So they can make sure that you are comfortable living within those parameters and those rules before you buy. That was a weird exception, but it could happen. I mean, he strongly did not want an HOA. He didn't know that until he had to live with one, but he figured it out pretty darn quickly. Overall, if you're a real estate agent, it's important to educate your clients about the HOA in any community that they are looking to purchase. And as a consumer, it's also important to be informed, make educated decisions, and ask questions. That's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to Carry On with Carrie Fitz. I'm Carrie Fitz. Until next time, carry on.